you. Welcome to the Grow Bridge. I am your host, Ivo-Castillo, here in Miami, and this podcast is for entrepreneurs and leaders with strong ties in Latin America who want to understand how Anglo founders think about growth, leadership, business, decision making, and marketing, and how to apply their mindset into your own business. Today, I'm excited to have Tanya Hilts. She is the founder of Cloud Business Services. Hello, Tanya. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Eva. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank
Good.
you for your time.
Oh,
And
thank you for having
let's
me
start.
here.
Yes, let's start.
Let's dig
Uh,
in.
yes, Tanya, please tell us a little bit about your background and what originally pulled you into the accounting and advisory world.
Okay, so my background is a little different than most people in the accounting and advisory world. I actually did not start off in this world. I started off in insurance for 17 years. And when I was 25, I managed an insurance office that had Liberty Tax in it. And I thought if I'm the manager, I need to be able to understand all parts of it to deal with complaints. So that's when I learned taxes. I had my daughter at 29. And when I had her, I decided I did not want to go back to work. I wanted to be able to have the balance of being a stay-at-home mom, running the business. I need things to do, like to stay busy. And so I needed that. Obviously, we needed the extra income as well, too, to be able to do that. But I didn't want to have her raised by babysitters, essentially. So she's 24 years old now. And so it went from just part-time taxes and it grew. And as she started not needing me as much and I, didn't need to volunteer in school and all of that, I started making it more and more full-time. So we've been full-time 15 years anyway, completely full-time, at, 40 hours a week. I now have a team. There's 4 of us employees. So I've got 3 employees plus myself. 1 employee is part-time. 3 of us are full-time. And I have 2 subcontractors.
Okay.
So yeah, I just fell into everything. And in the bookkeeping, I started bookkeeping 17 years ago as well. With that, once we moved areas. And so I started the bookkeeping 17 years ago on that side. And that's led to advisory because I'm a problem solver. I love to help people solve problems and I look at things differently. So what's happened with that is that's just kind of been a natural progression. In order to be able to do what I like to do and help clients the way that I like to help them, I needed to start hiring these people to do the jobs I didn't like to do.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And uh, what is this customer profile is? What kind of business do you help?
So it's funny. People ask that all the time. My customer profile is not as dialed in as other people's to be able to say, this is what they look like. It's more of a feeling. I want to work with nice people who are mostly service-based business. But if I get a good feeling from the person and we mesh, and I feel that we're going to get along personality wise, that they are going to respect the experience that I have and at least have those discussions as to how I can help them, how they can make more money, and at least be open to potential changes if I see anything. That's the biggest thing. If somebody has a business that's too large that all of a sudden they're having the manager deal with me. No, I want small businesses. I spent a lot of time in that corporate world and I have no urge of going back. So small startups, people that realize they have a lot to learn and want to take that journey with me. So that's pretty much it. Like I say, it's not as dialed in. Some people can say, yes, I want male or female business owners of this age and, in this industry, that's not with me. With me, it's that feeling and how we get along.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Uh, and what are the most common financial challenges that you see in small and mid-sized businesses today?
They don't understand the mechanics of cash flow. That's the biggest thing. 82% of businesses in North America that fail due to poor cash flow. And it's 4 out of 5 new businesses will fail within the first 5 years. And 82% of them is because they don't understand cash flow. Some people think you need to spend more to make. Sometimes that's true. Sometimes it's not, but are you making deliberate, educational, insightful decisions. And it's understanding that cash flow is the most important thing. It's not just throwing money at it or, whatnot. So this is where we've started this past year under it's a different website because not everybody I teach on that am I going to want to have as a bookkeeping client. So it's planforprofit.co, and I can help anybody in North America. And I'm actually partnering with business coaches as well to bring this financial section to clients. And I can teach them in a 10-hour workshop how to properly and successfully have your cash flow working. We cover pricing, which, are they pricing properly? Let's compare what they offer against their competitors and against the value that they're offering. And then that leads into marketing. Are they marketing to the right people? What is their actual cost to deliver the service? So there's about 3 to 4 aha moments, and one that I've started, we did yesterday and we're finishing it up next Tuesday. The business coach who has done this, she is like, wow, she's already had 4 aha moments, and she's a business coach and she does this. So like you say, this is really good to be able to partner, and it's not something that they need to pay for ongoing. It is a workshop priced and designed for the small business owner who doesn't know a lot about financing and who can't afford a lot, and to be able to teach them to fish, so to speak, instead of paying somebody to fish for you. So that's really excited us. Since I've been certified, I've put over 100 business owners through the course, and it's really exciting to see the change and to see, their faces light up when they actually understand it.
And that made me curious. And for our audience, it will be a great value. Can you explain in a simple way what is a cash flow?
So a cash flow is the recording of money in and money out. It is that simple. Get their reports of financial reports, and they say to me, well, Tanya, my profit and loss or my income statement says I've made $700,000. That should be great, but there's no money in my bank account. Why? Because it's sitting in accounts receivable because the clients or your clients or customers aren't paying you yet. You're giving them payment terms. And there are a lot of people that when they do that, I step in and I gently remind them that they are not a bank or a finance company. This is their business. They're not financing. And so these little different mind shifts. So the cash flow is, again, it's the recording of money in, money out, not sales, not anything else. It's just, in versus out. And the proper way to balance that is not necessarily just, spending more money or getting a loan, because that could create other issues.
And when a business owners, we see as a cash flow as a main, like, unknowledge theory or thing that the small business lack of, right?
Yeah.
But when they came to you, these business owners, and asked for help, what is that usually is happening inside their business? Like, I mean, like it, they don't understand what the cash flow is the problem, but they think
Well,
they need sales, they need.
yeah, and you're right with that, Ivo. So the person who created this methodology that I teach, so I'm certified in it. It's not my methodology, but
Mhm.
it speaks to me. It reverse engineers the budget first off, and it is neuroeconomic. So it's the behavioral science around budgeting, which is
Correct.
what really interested me. So the person who created it, her name is also Tanya. It's Tanya Woods Richardson. So if I say Tanya, I am not talking about myself in third party. But when she started to create it, she had a business. She had $5 million in sales a year. She had to claim bankruptcy. It wasn't the sales, but she had to claim bankruptcy, and she went back to school to figure out why. And she studied neuroeconomics, and then she went and worked in the lending side of things. So I was one of the first bookkeepers, I want to say, I think I was the third that she had even spoke to about coming in to be able to teach this on the bookkeeping side, because she is teaching lenders to do this. So I think by the end of this year, there's going to be 300 or so of us across North America certified to teach, and less than a quarter of them are going to be bookkeepers. because they're hitting on the other side of things, the lender side. Because when people go in and they need money, they need to build a budget, and this helps them build the budget. But when she went back and studied it and reverse engineered, what she found was that people say, I need more sales to make more money. That's not, again, necessarily the case. So by reverse engineering and seeing exactly what things cost you and price based on that, that makes a difference. So it's the reverse engineer. And where most people are wrong, it's the pricing. They think that, because when they look at a cost of goods sold, they forget their employees' wages are part of that. That is one of the things they tend to forget. They forget that if somebody buys something that's $1,000 and they pay by credit card, they tend to forget that that sale just costs them 3% almost to be able to take the credit card payment. So therefore, all of this is not worked into the price of the product. It's worked into the indirect costs, and therefore they're pricing it wrong. The example that we bring in is, in apples. Somebody sells a basket of apples. They're selling it for $30. They think it's only costing them $19 because to buy the apples, to buy the basket, to buy this and that. But when you take the time of their employee that they're paying and add that in, they realize, oh, I'm paying that employee to polish the apples and to put the baskets together and to print this and print that and pay the salespeople to put them out and pay for this and that. They thought they were making $11 profit on every $30 they sent. They were making $3.18 profit. And this came from a real use case scenario. $3.18. No wonder they weren't making any money, because of these hidden costs that they were just budgeting elsewhere. They're still to be budgeted elsewhere, but you still need to take them into account when pricing that product because it still costs you.
Correct. And another things that I saw over the years is that the comparison
Yes.
problem with the pricing. Try to compare it with the competition all the time and try to emulate their prices, thinking if they're selling that way, I'm going to sell it the same price, but
Or
they don't know
cheaper.
the hidden cost of them.
Well, there's that, exactly. And because we do tell you to take a look at the competition in what I
Yes,
teach, but a different way.
exactly.
You look at the competition to help solidify your value. Because if your product, so again, let's use the apples. If your apples are, tree to table in 4 days, they're keeping their freshness, they're keeping this, they're keeping that. So why should you be charging the same price for your apples as apples that, got picked from one end of the country, sat in a truck for 2 weeks, went to the other end of the country, ripened in the truck, and is being sold in a non-recyclable package versus, a recyclable package. All of this, and so it helps weigh them out, because what I find with a lot of people too is they try to undercut their competition. Well, what if your competition wants to sell to, and what I do is I use an example, the dollar store. If you offer like Neiman Marcus quality at dollar store prices, you're not doing yourself any good. And if you think nobody will pay that, you are marketing to the wrong people. So by building this up and looking at the competition and weighing out, it's called a weighted pricing process. And by looking at the competition and looking at you and seeing what everybody charges and weighing out, here's the pros, here's the cons, you can help come up with a good market price based on your value. And if you think people won't pay that, that's just built your marketing plan. So there's a whole bunch of cool things in it, but don't try to undercut them because, again, as you said, you don't know what their cost of goods are. They might have a lesser cost of goods, or again, they might be targeting different people. So that's like trying to compare apples to oranges, right?
Yes. And it's work for you for comparison, but just for that, not to emulate the competitions,
Yep.
because you have to see maybe you giving more value,
Exactly. And if you're
maybe
giving more value,
you
change
have
your
to,
marketing message.
yeah,
Change your price, change your marketing message. There's so many different things that you can do with that. And you know what? Especially in today, and I say this for any product or service business, that unless you're trying to be like the Temu and the dollar store, and unless you're trying to go in and just just get the cheap stuff. For the majority of us, the majority of consumers out there, at least the people that I have talked with, again, not just North America, but worldwide, we want value. If we can have value at a good price, great. I want to know there's value. So if I go out and I want to buy fresh fruit or fresh vegetables, I want to know that I come home and I don't have to eat them in a day. Because then otherwise I have to go shopping every single day, which takes up time, which takes up, extra wear and tear on my car and extra gas. And who can afford the gas these days, right? So there's all of these different things. I want to just go shop once and know that my food is going to stay fresh, my fridge. So regardless whether it's that or whether it's bookkeeping or whatever type of service, the average consumer still wants quality. And to do that, you can differentiate yourself from your competition. So
Yes.
don't emulate the competition, differentiate yourself from your competition.
Correct. Let's move a subject a little bit. So, in your perspective, why do so many accounting firms struggle to grow even though the demand is high? And this is curious is because I was talking when I interviewed the other day that he also have an accounting firm. And what, as a business owner myself, your accountant or your accountant is most important than your doctor
Hmm.
for a business. When you get a good accountant, the the work can die. You can separate from your wife, you can divorce, you can do whatever except change your account
Right.
because that is important.
Yes, I agree.
Majority of the entrepreneurs and business owners, we don't like to deal with the financials.
Of course you don't. If you did, you would run an accounting business,
Correct.
right? It's that simple. I think the issue, in my experience, there's a couple of different types of accounting firms out there. And I do coach accountants and bookkeepers across North America, and I have had for over a decade. Don't let the purple hair fool you. I am 54 years old. I sound young, purple hair, but I am 54.
Wow,
So,
you look
yeah.
so young.
Yeah, well, thank you. I don't smoke. I drink a lot of water
Yeah.
and purple hair. Under this purple, it's all gray. I think what I've seen in my experience is there's a few different types of accounting or bookkeeping firms out there. And I say this because in the US, you guys use accountant and bookkeeper more interchangeably than we do up here in Canada. In Canada, we only call CPAs accountants. Everybody else is a bookkeeper, whereas I know in the States it's a little bit more interchangeable. But regardless, it's still the same mindset. Just bookkeepers, we work, if you're a CPA, you work high level. So that's just like, think if you're flying in a plane and you look down, you can see the roads, you can see, the fields, you can see the grid of the earth. A bookkeeper, we're lying down on our stomach, with the magnifying glass, looking at each blade of grass and seeing how many little, bug bites are there out of the blade of grass. So we look at things differently with that. But again, regardless, there's two types of firms out there that I've really seen. There are firms that are relationship based. Those that are relationship based are a lot more concerned about the type of quality that they give, to their clients. They really want that relationship. That's what we are. If we try to grow too quickly, it doesn't work because it's very difficult to find team members to be able to come in with experience and the same type of relationship. So we did try to grow too fast. Big mistake. I call it my $350,000 mistake through COVID. I focused on my clients, did not focus on my own business. You did the whole build it and they will come. And I built it and I ended up paying 3 people for a year and a half to basically that were not properly trained on the back end. I didn't have the time to spend with them. And so I would never grow that fast again. I will grow very, very slowly and methodically now because again, they were not providing the proper customer service. They weren't providing anything to my expectations.
Okay.
Then there's the type of firm that is more transactional based. And those are more so the larger accounting firms. And I've known accountants who go in and buy them. They're not so concerned on relationships. So they're probably going to be a little bit cheaper. But again, what do you want? Do you want relationship or do you want transaction? So the transactional based ones, they can grow quickly. because they can hire people, they can put them in, and the quality may or may not be the same depending on how they have their quality assurance set up, but they're not focused on relationship. They're just back end looking at how fast can I get the work done and how cheap can I charge for it? And they're focused on volume. And that may work for some businesses and some people. That is not the service that I want to give because my background is customer service, dealing with insurance and whatnot. It's always been customer service. And I believe that books and taxes are intangible. Other than the paper it's printed on, you can't touch it. You can't do anything with it. And it's something that we have to do because the government says we have to do it. And then we realize we should do it because it helps us make proper decisions to make money. But it's still something that people regret. They still don't enjoy doing it. It's not something that gets you pleasure. You can go out and you can rent yourself a Lamborghini for a weekend and have pleasure from that. Great. I drove a Lamborghini for a weekend. When's the last time somebody was that enthused about, their books or their accountant or their bookkeeper? So I want it very much relationship based so that people can call me very service based again. And that's how I've always done everything. And the accountants and bookkeepers that I train and coach on, they're all like-minded. They want to give that. And I believe that if push comes to shove, people, again, as I said earlier, will pay more for quality. People will have less of a problem with a price increase from me if they're still getting that value back and knowing, that peace of mind. My books are safe. This is safe. And so, like I say, there's those two types of firms. And again, one can grow quickly, very easily, but you're not getting that same customer service. It's just like going in. If you're going in and buying something, do you want the cheapest or do you want the best? If you want the cheapest, great, go in and get that. A lot of accounting firms also outsource overseas. So the problem with outsourcing overseas, I tried to do that. It did not work. The problem with outsourcing overseas, and I paid them more because they were accountants. But what I realized is they don't understand the simple things. So if you're outsourcing to India, for example, they don't have McDonald's or Tim Hortons. So they don't know when they see that it's McDonald's or Tim Hortons that that's a meal that should go under meals and entertainment. Or if it's only $1.50, you probably just bought your own coffee and therefore you can't write off your own coffee. So they don't know that. So again, quality can be different. And that's a lot of, again, the accountant firms that can scale quickly. Are they doing what's best for their clients? They may not, but in my experience, they're not because there can be a higher percentage of mistakes. Whereas again, if you're small, you're dealing with somebody who's small. We were up to, like I say, there's 3 extra people that I had let go. So we were getting ready to move up to 8 people. And like I say, it was too quick. It was not well thought out. And so I reacted and said, we need more, we need more, we need more. And I'll never do that again. I will hire somebody part-time, train them, bring them in, and train them for that customer service and train them for the quality that I want. And so therefore, I will never be able to grow as large as another company, an accounting firm that is more transactional. Now, the bad point of that is my business is not easily sellable because my clients will expect the same customer service from everybody else as they do from me, which is high quality. We audit proof the books up front. There's so many things that we do up front. And it would have to be the right person to be able to step in. Otherwise, if somebody else who looks at it more transactional based, they'll lose all the clients. So,
And just for noted, it looks like also is a very very reflect of your personality and your lifestyle.
thank you. I try to give what I would expect as a consumer myself or
So
client.
that is important. Your business is a kind of the way you live your life. Like I don't
Exactly.
want to product thing. I want to relationship, personal, and help people, like you said. That's it.
And that's
You
exactly,
can be that person and at the same time, try to grow
it
as a
didn't work. I
machine.
tried it and it didn't work and I'm still paying for it, right?
Yeah,
So
and this is a kind of service that is very very sensible.
it is. And People want, there's both out there. And if you want just somebody just to bang the numbers in and not be able to have these discussions with you, that's great. There's people out there that will offer that. And if you want more handholding and more white glove service, great. There's firms out there that offer that for you. Yeah.
And yeah, in the operational matter, what are the biggest operationals that accounting firms or this kind of business has?
Right. So I would say there's two main ones. Your staff is always an issue. Are they properly trained? Do they have the right personality? Canada to US, we're very different. So, if I couldn't hire somebody from the US with 20 years experience and come in and pay them what they would be expecting because Canada is very different. Same thing. I couldn't go down and be hired down by somebody in the US and expect the same because we have very different, the compliance is different and every firm works differently. I actually prefer to hire people with very minimal accounting experience because our workflows are different than anybody else. So if they've worked for a large accounting firm, our workflows won't work for them. So there's that. The other is technology. Right now, technology is our biggest concern, which can be a hindrance or it can be an assistance. But there's so much technology that we have to look at what technology to use, when to use it. Is it ethical? Like, when we talked off camera, we were talking about AI. Is it ethical to use AI in certain situations? You want to make sure, do you tell clients that you're using, AI? I do. It's right in my engagement letter, right on our website, how we use it, but we don't use it for a lot. We will use it to help us analyze, but we don't use it for a lot because AI will never be the same as us looking at things. So I worked with AI to do some deep dive analytical on a client and I used it to spitball back and forth, which is great. And after 2 hours, it came up at being 85% correct. But if I don't know what's correct and what's not, I might have assumed it's all correct. So, use it, but don't trust it completely. Don't fully trust it. Right. So there's a lot of that. And how do you use it? Again, technology has never moved as fast as it has up until this point. But it's also the slowest that it's ever going to be because it's going to continue to move faster. So that's very difficult
Well,
for a decision.
you you head of me. My next question will be: how do you see this AI changing in day-to-day work for accountants? You mentioned analyzing. Is there any other way to use it?
Yes,
Other ways or capabilities that you think it could be
absolutely.
beneficial for your business?
Yes, absolutely. So AI is something I've become very passionate about. I love technology. I also hate technology at the same time, which is really funny. When I was in grade 10, so it was like 85, yes, aging myself, but I've already told you guys my age anyway. 1985, my mother forced me to take computers, and we spent the whole semester learning how to write. It was string code that it was at that point. So how to write string, how to convert string to binary and then convert binary to punch cards. And I walked out of there, took us all semester to come up with a 12 question questionnaire. Essentially, it was a bunch of if then statements, right? But I walked out of there and I said, computers suck. They are not the wave of the future. And here I am embracing technology now. So I eat my words every single day. But I've been speaking on AI in accounting. So I've spoken at last year, 7 different accounting conferences within Canada. There's 5 scheduled for this year. And I actually, I'm just going to take a moment and toot my own horn for a moment because this is a very big deal. I got invited to be a member of AFOD. So they've given me a free membership. And what AFOD is, it's AI for Developing Nations. And I was invited to go speak and I had to turn it down, unfortunately. But I was invited to go speak in Bangkok at the United Nations in February to help them determine essentially what they're trying to solve is how developing nations can use AI for economic sovereignty. So it was very exciting, but it was December that they invited me over. And because it's a nonprofit organization going and speaking to the UN, I would have had to pay my own expenses. And that would have been a very expensive trip, especially at the start of tax season. So I had to say no. But I do
Mhm.
have an AI app that is willing to sponsor me to go for either Geneva or Vienna this year. So I'm really excited to be able to do that. But AI, and part of the reasons that they sought me out from this was when I speak on it, I speak on the ethics of it, how to use it responsibly and ethically, because you can QuickBooks Online bank feeds. And I only use QuickBooks Online. So it's the only point of reference that we have. A Xero may be the same, but I'm going to talk QuickBooks Online bank. So many business owners trust what it says. It says it must be this, so I'm just going to trust it and add it. No, that's AI. And AI, one of my colleagues up here said AI is like talking to an autistic 5-year-old. And I thought that is perfect. They are brilliant, but if you don't ask precisely the right question, you won't get precisely the answer that you're looking for. So you have to be very precise with it. But yeah, so I've also started a course with, not a course, weekly vlog. It's called AI in Action. And it's on my YouTube channel. It's on at Tanya's Bootcamp. So I have 2 different YouTube channels. That one is more for accounting, but that is how to use everything, how to use it ethically. And every week when I come up with something new, I stop and I go, that was cool. And I record it for the next week. And so we talk about different things that you can do to increase your efficiency. So there's an app called Whisper Flow. I can work at an average of 132 words per minute. Right now, I am forcing myself to slow down because I talk very fast generally. Typing, I tend to type when I'm typing into AI. I talk very fast, and when I'm typing, I tend to type shorthand. So I don't really get the answers I'm really looking for. So I can use that. I hit 2 buttons on my keyboard and I can work at 132 words a minute. So that's a very good use of time. ChatGPT, I love using ChatGPT for content creation. Now, I don't create. I feel it's unethical to put something out there that's mine. But what I do is I use it to banter back and forth and to get my creative juices flowing. Because accountants, we can't jump from one to the other. If we're both creative and logical, which I am lucky enough to be, we can't jump back and forth from one to the other. So if I have to write a blog or talk about something that, why AI will not replace bookkeepers, I will go to ChatGPT. I call him Charlie, and I will say, Charlie, I want you to write me a 500-word blog on why AI will replace bookkeepers. So Charlie already knows because I've been using him since the second week ChatGPT was in beta. Charlie knows he's my devil's advocate and he's my copy editor. So that's what I do. And anything that I do take out of AI that is truly AI content, I actually say this was AI generated because again, I feel that that's very important to be transparent about that. So I find ChatGPT is very good for the creative. We need to keep in mind that ChatGPT will start to tell us what we want to hear instead of the truth. It starts to hallucinate, as some people call. So we need to be very careful with that.
Make money.
Exactly. Perplexity. I use Perplexity every day. It's perplexity.ai. And I use that as my search tool because Perplexity is just starting to get a little bit of personality, but it's meant for research. So instead of going to Google, and Google will give me back the sites that have paid to show up first, Perplexity will give me all of its sources and it will only use verifiable sources. So it will say, this is what I found and here's all the sources so I can easily sort them out instead of just seeing who paid to be first.
Correct.
So I love Perplexity for research. And then I use Claude for accounting. Claude, which is owned by Anthropic, decided in October of 2025 that they wanted to niche in accounting. And so when I first started using chat, I tried Claude and I wasn't that impressed with it at that point. I thought I'm not paying for
Correct.
2 to
But
do the same.
now
Oh my goodness. So that's where
this year is just
it's taken off. And now that it's focusing on accounting and finance, it can do analytical without breaking. So what I like to say to people is if you break Chat GPT, you may not realize you've broken it, but when you break it, it's just like the Three Stooges. You've got Curly going in circles on the floor going whoop, 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 but you don't know it's necessarily what it's doing in the back end. But Claude is excellent for the analytical, and it thinks and it shows you the work as it's thinking. So if you're watching it, you can double check all of the work and it brings it up. And again, there's ways to double check it. So what I had it look for me was I knew there was an error in a file. I thought I knew where the error was. And yes, it's taken me a couple of hours to be able to really pinpoint it. And this is something I normally would have called one of my friends and I would have said, I've spent a few hours. I can't find it. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
like looking for a needle in a haystack. And I'd call one of my friends, and one of my friends would sit there and we'd spend hours trying to figure it out. This has probably saved me about 20 hours
Yeah.
of using Claude to do the analytical. And again, I'm watching what it's doing. I'm questioning it. I'm like, okay, you said this. I don't see that you said this. Can you prove to me? Can you double check your work? So working with that. So there's different ways to use AI, and that's how I use my main ones.
I'm delighted talking to you.
Well, you know what? And I break AI every week. My week is not done if I haven't broken it because I like to play with it. And I've not
Yeah.
paid for any, that's not true. I did pay for an AI course that I never took. So I've not taken any AI courses. I just learn it and I learn the limits by seeing when it's breaking, but I'm also understand the output that I need. And that's the problem. A lot of business owners think that I can go in and I can use it and I don't need my accountant or bookkeeper because it'll do it. You don't know if it's giving you the right information or not. And then
That,
also,
yeah,
you
that's it.
don't want to give AI personally identifiable information because then you're putting that out there on the internet. And, there's protocols around that, in our industry, we need to safeguard our clients' information. And to safeguard it does not mean I'm just uploading everything and sharing it out there. So there's we could talk hours on this.
Yeah. Let's move on.
Yes.
Tell me, how modern accounting firms actually get new clients? How do you promote yourself? Not you, or you and
And other firms.
yeah,
So my answer is going to be, obviously limited to what I know, which is still a lot because again, I coach and I network with a lot of them through North America. So I would say the biggest is probably word of mouth. Word of mouth, your referrals, your clients. There's that. Another one is networking. So I do some networking. I don't put a lot of money into advertising because we are mostly word of mouth because I want to grow very slowly and purposefully. And so there are times where we're just not even taking on any new clients, and that's okay. But I do network in one small business networking group. It's like BNI, which is your Business Networking International, but here we call it SRT, Select Referral Team. And this is made up of a bunch of old BNI members that wanted to do something different. But the premise is still the same. We go and we network every Tuesday morning and we network together and we have breakfast and we get to talk about who we are and what we do, and what type of ideal client we're looking for. Everybody gets, once every 6 months to do a presentation, 15-minute presentation on yourself. But in this one, they push don't bring referrals. They push getting to know each other. Because if you get to know each other, when you send the right referral, it'll be the right person. I don't want, 2 referrals a week if they're all going to be a waste of time. I want true people that, they think will fit with me and do that. And so that's what I like about that. So there's the referrals, and we're also part of the Chamber of Commerce. So we do some of those networking. Then there's social media. So social media, some people just put out there who they are, but the best way to leverage social media is to position yourself as an expert. So you position yourself as an expert, and so you're answering questions. So take those questions that your clients have, throw a social media post, do a video. Reels are really big right now, and put it out there so people can see. If people can see that you're the expert, or people can hear you're the expert, that is the way to get those referrals.
and this is in your business.
Okay.
What is your biggest challenges you are trying to solve right now?
There's a lot that we have to do. And it's essentially my time. Right now, I know I have a surgery coming up, that surgery will have me off for up to 12. So how do I get my team trained on everything that I do that I've kept up here that I've not trained them on? So that is my biggest challenge is I need to create those flows, delegate a little bit more to be able to do that. But how do I do that when my team is still busy and works full-time hours on there? So right now we're kind of at a crossroads where I don't want to hire a full-time person yet right now because I would have to do an awful lot of training for that. It's going to be a year before I would even let them talk to clients. That's my rules because I'm very strict with what I expect from them and the learning curve, and I want them to have the confidence. So I don't have a year to hire somebody right now. So right now, we're trying to balance out how I can use software to make certain things or AI to make certain things go quicker so that we can free up time so that I can start delegating so they can learn. And this is actually where Claude has come in. And so I've gotten Sandra, my right hand person, I've got her using Claude since last week and using it for analyzing and whatnot, because if I can cut her time back, then if she's got an extra hour a week, that's an extra hour a week I can start to teach her what I've got stuck up here.
Yes.
Again, the additional, because you know, I've got over a decade experience ahead of her. So
Correct.
yeah,
And then this is hard to teach.
it is. It's very hard to teach. Your knowledge, your experience, or education for any industry is the hardest thing to teach. So I think regardless of the entrepreneurs that are watching this, I think they're going to relate to that regardless of what industry they're in. Because how do you teach somebody to take over some of your duties when nobody has time? I don't have time to teach. They don't have time to learn. How do you do that? So it's hard. It's a challenge for everybody.
Well, yes, from my experience, that is where it comes the culture, the vision, and maybe they won't know what you know, but they are the most likely and the way you behave, so they can keep going your vision, your culture.
Yes.
And to me, that was one of my priority when I have my businesses is hire people that technically don't be this prepared as, but I can teach that. What I can teach is
Yes.
be the human that I wanted to be in my organization.
And you know what? That is the one thing that I say to the accounting professionals that I coach and work with, and even to my clients. You can train skill, you cannot train personality. So yeah, you hit the nail right on the head there.
Yes. And right now, what part of your work still records? You use a lot of AI. But what take you the most time of your manual effort?
I'd say bringing on new clients
Yeah,
is very manual for us. It doesn't have to be, but the relationship we want with our clients, it needs to be. So we basically, when we bring on a new bookkeeping client, it's 3 months of their onboarding. So that's learning the
wow.
client. We want to meet with the client for every single week. We want to meet with them every week for 3 months. So we start off by booking them an hour a week. We want to make sure that they understand, first off, what do they need from us? And part of that is getting to know each other. Part of that is teaching them the technology. We use Dext for pictures or for receipts. Some people will take a picture and send it in, and then we look at the picture and we're like, we can't read it. So we have to teach them to do the tech, make sure things are set up. We train our clients because we have very different expectations than some other bookkeepers. So when somebody comes to us, nobody works the same way we do. We work every single week on our clients' files because it's more efficient that way and we can ask them questions immediately. But we also need somebody who can respond in a timely manner when we ask them for something that we need. And that most of the times has to be a learned skill that the client needs to start to learn. This is what we expect. This is what's going to help me give you what you need, is you need to give me what I need. And that just comes with getting to know each other. So we start, like I say, an hour a week for the first month, and then we start to bring it down to about half an hour once we've answered all their questions and see we don't need as long. Then we'll maybe put them to every second week, but it's up to 3 months to set those good habits and to really get to know them so that we're giving them what they need. And again, they're giving us what we need so that we can give them what they need. And that's very manual. I can do a bunch of videos, but can I guarantee that they're going to watch them and understand them? No, I can't. So, yeah. So that's the hardest part that's more manual that I could automate. But if I automated, it would change the relationship and the dynamics. And I'm not willing to do that.
You're very narrow on what it have to be automated and what not.
Exactly. Like we don't have a chatbot on our site right now. So if you go to our main site, because we've got three different brands and three different sites, but you go to the main site, the Cloud Business Services one, it says right on there, we have an FAQ page. And one of the questions are, do you have a chatbot? And we say no, because we can't control what AI will say. And we don't want AI to give them the wrong information. And so, them getting the right information is of the highest importance to. So therefore, we don't have a chatbot. It's not ready for it. So we're very transparent with all of that.
Correct. Um, just few last questions.
Sure.
First, what advice would you give a founder that feels stuck right now?
So are they stuck in operations or
Yes, like
just
in your
okay?
experience as a coach and as an
Okay.
accountant.
So
Yeah.
I would say I think the biggest thing that founders need to know is, like our cash flow canvas, which is under the plan for profit.co. That we bring together other business owners. We come on and we do that workshop. So they're able to get a lot of experience from that. And I don't like to kind of push that product because that's not what we're here to do. But finding something similar to that and working in a group means that they're going to be in a room of other founders that have similar issues. We don't just talk cash flow, like you say, we kind of, because cash flow, everything is linked to it. And that's where they're going to learn proper things that they can do for their business. And they're going to learn and hear and experience from the other people in the room. I find that's huge. You almost need a support group, a founder support group to be able to identify with each other, because otherwise it's just like being a parent for the first time. You don't know if you're doing it right or wrong, but guess what? As a parent, you have your parents
Yeah.
and your partner's parents to be able to help you, or to be able to say, well, when I was a kid, this is how my parent was me, and I don't want to be that with my child. And you do it, and you don't know if it's right or wrong till after. Well, at least you have some type of guidance. As a business owner, a lot of us don't. We feel, a lot of business owners and founders, especially, feel shame in something that they've done wrong and therefore don't want to talk about it. But you know what? You should never feel shame, because everybody has made similar mistakes, and it's how you learn from those mistakes that is the most important thing. So find yourself, get yourself educated, whether it be reading books, whether it be by taking course, whether it being by finding some type of group of other founders and actually share, because you get back what you give, what you give.
Correct.
Yeah.
And last question, what is your mindset? What keep you motivated, driver, overcome challenges, be resilient? What is it? What is your mindset? What do you think that, like, hey, I'm going.
So there's two. First off, I love helping people, and I love the feeling when I can help somebody achieve their goal, or, help somebody get out of debt. So I just before this call, I had a call with one of my clients who I've been with right since the beginning. She bought her business. She, within the first 2 months, went through two bookkeepers and then found me. And she's been with me for 17 years now. And our conversation was about, so we've had conversations in the past about, how does she need to charge? How does she do this? How does she do that? What does it look like? I've had conversations with her where she's just shown up on my doorstep crying because something bad has happened financially and she just doesn't know who else to turn to. But this was an amazing conversation and it felt so good. She's paid off the business. She now has so much money a month freed up. And so now we're trying to figure out what to do with it. And it was a very happy conversation. So I love to see that, to see the fruition through that. The other thing that keeps me going, which I think any other founder will identify with, I have ADHD. And you just, exactly, most of us do. And that's really what keeps us going. So is we need to be busy. We need to, jump on other things, which is why I have my team do what I do. And I do what I do because I can jump from here to here to here to here to here. And that keeps my day satisfying.
And you know what? This
But
is my 23 episode.
yeah.
And the whole the people that I get along with AI and start talking AI deeply, they really understand, or I like this, I like that, I like that. All of them have ADHD.
Of course, you have to be able to keep up and jump.
Yes. The restaurant knows about AI, and okay, yeah, I do well, I do ChatGPT, blah, blah, blah. But no, I know I use cloud and I use do that and I like that and I like that. And but I have ADHD. Me too. Me
Yep.
too.
Yep. I think you have to keep going sometimes. You need to be able to do that because otherwise, like, yeah.
No, and you know what? Now I find out that I have ADHD 2 years ago. I didn't know that.
I recently diagnosed myself as well, and it made so much sense. I'm like,
Yes.
this makes sense. So I'm not officially diagnosed by a medical doctor, but I did take some tests.
Yeah.
But I don't want a medical doctor because I'm not seeking medication.
Yeah.
I'm
Me
seeking
either.
understanding. And
They
now
send
that
me
I
to no.
understand, I can try to help good habits. So probably similar to you. Now that you understand, you can try to set your day up for a little bit more success. Like
Yeah.
me, I can't work on big, long projects. They drain me out. So now I know if I have a long project, I need to be able to go in, do what I need to do and get somebody else to do the long part of it and keep coming back to me. I can jump in and jump out, but I can't sit there and work on the same project for 4 months. I just can't do it.
I got diagnosed because my son has it. And they
Okay.
and say, and when the doctor say, this is genetic, and I say, oh my God. I went to and I say, babe, you are severely ADHD,
Yep.
like this, like this, like this. They did take Adderall. No, I don't want any pill. Thank you so much.
We're too old at this stage. We've dealt
Yeah,
with it our whole
yeah,
lives.
I
Give me
live with that
coping
all my life.
mechanisms.
It's not for me. It's not point to do that, and right.
Right.
And I hate pills or anything that make me. I want to be really conscious about myself.
Yep. So coping mechanisms that are not medicines.
Yeah, I'm trying to solve my with my mind. I rather
Yep.
go therapy, meditations, and do whatever it takes, exercise, everything. Less pills that
Yep.
stop
Good for you.
stop make me feel what I'm feeling. I'm
Great.
ready to do with my feelings instead of. So the AI, what do is like when you have this, I don't know what happened to you, is like you feeling like there's not enough time,
Yes.
that you get bored easily,
Yes.
and you want to jump in different things because you want to do it all.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. But what happened to I realized that I can do it all. If I
Yeah.
need to focus a little bit more and start to learn the thing, I can do it. Because for a long time ago, my brothers all would tell me, you know what? What is your problem? He didn't know that I had ADHD. You know what a problem is? You want to do it all. That you
Yep.
want to do all by yourself. That you
Yep.
don't trust anybody. It's not that, Eric. It's not that. It just, I like to do my stuff.
Yeah. And that's,
What's the
I,
problem?
and I find if I have a big project or a long project, and this was with the client that is no longer a client, I'm still working through everything with him. We are still, we are friends. We're still in the networking group and everything was, he got everything quality, but it did take longer because it was a bigger project than I had realized when we took on. And I would sit here and try to force myself to do it and nothing would get done. And then I'd end up just getting up and walking away and watching a Hallmark movie or something like that because I wouldn't let myself do anything else until I did it. And that was not good for me. So with me, the one thing I've learned is how to better structure my day and better structure the projects that we accept. Or again, I have somebody working with me, a subcontractor working with me now who does that. She can do that for work on the same file for 5 days. I can't.
Yeah.
I need to do multiple things a day. So she can do that. So I do that. And then her and I co-work together. So if she has questions, she can ask me and I'm working on other stuff. And so it works great. But I had to find out that I had ADHD and find out the coping mechanisms to have it make sense to be able to now structure my day for success.
Correct.
Yeah.
Tell me one last thing. What
Okay.
advice to our audience? Is it something that you can advise them, or one little tip?
Sure. I would say it's more of a mental tip then for mental wellness is, you know what? It is being a founder and entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. It is hard work. Get your families on board and the people around you. I dealt with that where, because I worked from home, my husband was like, well, it's not a real job. Yes, it's a real job, just because I'm working from home. So you have to get your family on board. But if
Yes.
you can get your family on board, set yourself up. I work way more hours than I would if I had a job, but it's on my terms. And I love that. And I would never go back to being an employee again because although I work harder, I'm very fulfilled. I am mentally fulfilled. I am emotionally fulfilled. My business pays me enough to be able to pay our bills and we live a good lifestyle. I am certainly not rich by any means, but I am not complaining about our lifestyle. But it's so, like I say, it's not for the faint of heart, but it is so worth it if you are looking for those other things. You still can become rich at it as well, too. If you've got the right idea and the right product, more so products, but you can do that. You can still do that. But yeah, I find it very fulfilling for the right people and, the right reasons. I work on my terms with who I want to work with. Nobody tells me what to do other than my team. And my team is, again, like you said, they're curated to be complementary personalities to myself. But yeah, it's just do it and take those challenges, take the challenges as they come. And there are people out there that have been through that as well. So don't give up. Reach out to somebody to help give you that inspiration or help you change your mindset as to the way through.
Thank you so much, Tanya.
You're welcome
Thank
so
you so
much, Evo. It
much.
was fun. I loved it.
Yeah. And thank you, everybody, for watching this show. See you next time. Bye.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.